It is halftime of Game 2. The Warriors with a 2-point lead at the break. Jason Tatum has 21. Steph Curry has 15. Stephen A., Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose. I'm Mike Greenberg. What's your overriding impression of the first half?
Well, I'm paying attention to the fact that the Boston Celtics once again are lethal from three-point range, shooting 52% from three-point range. And Jason Tatum, clearly this ain't Game 1. He's shooting 7 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 on three-point shots. The only thing that's a positive about Jason Tatum on the side of the Golden State Warriors, he has 21 in the first half, just like Steph Curry had 21, all right, in the first quarter, in Game 1. And where did that get Golden State? So, Boston, they're in position, but still in all, it's not the same.
In the meantime, Warriors' primary shooters aren't matching that at all. Klay Thompson, 1 for 8, 0 for 4 from 3. And Jordan Poole, Stephen A. challenged him to let's find him in the Game 2.
Yes.
Haven't found him yet. So with those two guys doing that, puts more pressure on Steph Curry, who's having an okay half at 5 for 12, 2 for 6 on threes. But Klay, why isn't Klay Thompson, Jalen, shooting that pull-up 3 when he gets the top of the circle, top of the arc? He and Steph are passing up shots we see them take and make all the time.
Because the Boston Celtics do a good job of closing at the three-point line, but also taking away his dribble drive. The one thing that the Golden State Warriors did do, however, plus 12 in the paint. So many times we get enamored with their three-point shooting, and rightfully so. But the Golden State Warriors continue to jab you when they get points in the paint.
They still need to get it done. I mean, all of those explanations are right on point, Jalen. But it's Klay Thompson, 3-time champion, one of the top 5 greatest shooters in the history of basketball. Jordan Poole, we were raving about you when the first round of the playoff series were over. You've gone from averaging 23 a game to 13 a game. They got 5 combined points in the first half. That's unacceptable.
Very quickly, did anyone think Draymond Green deserved a second technical in that circumstance?
At first, in live time, I started screaming that he earned one, but he didn't. Look at that replay, which is the whole point. He did not.
They got to start barking at the officials, in particular Draymond Green with one technical already.
All right, Steph Curry not having a vintage night, though he is leading the Warriors with 15 points. The Warriors are leading by 2, and we're back in a moment. It's Game 2 of the NBA Finals on ABC. This halftime, our opening tip tonight, a thriller on Thursday night with a finish that no one could have seen coming. After trailing by 12, entering the fourth, the Celtics hit 9 threes on their way to outscoring Golden State by 24 in the final frame, and they steal Game 1. It was the largest fourth-quarter points differential in a finals game ever. On the Warriors side, it's one of the worst fourth quarters they've ever played under Steve Kerr, regular season or playoffs. It was their worst points differential in any fourth quarter under Kerr, and the 9 threes, the most they've allowed by Golden State in the last 7 years in a fourth quarter. So the stage is set. Stephen A. Smith, is it reasonable to say tonight is an absolute must-win for the Warriors?
Without question, I think it's absolutely fair to say that. You're the Golden State Warriors. You have to win this game. You cannot go down 0-2 because I don't believe anybody on the planet believes that the Golden State Warriors or anybody else is going to beat this Celtics team in a best, 4 games over a 5-game stretch. And that's exactly what the scenario is if you lose this game. You go down 0-2, you got to win 4 of the next 5. And I damn sure don't believe that's something that's going to happen.
I agree with most of that. I'm going to stop just short of saying we've seen too many situations where teams are down 0-2. And we just saw this with Phoenix last year. Okay, so we've seen that. We've seen teams be down 3-1. We saw that in the bubble and subsequently. Sure. The Utah Jazz team, they're going to be broken up because they gave up a 3-1 lead. So I'm not going to say it's a need to win. Must, no.
Last year, the Suns won the first 2 games of the finals, to your point, but those were at home. The Warriors would be dropping the first 2 in their own building. Jalen.
Yeah, that was my point that I was going to make to you, Legend, is we've seen teams come back from 0-2, but not after losing the first 2 at home in particular. And for the Golden State Warriors, they're going to need this crowd to be energized today. And because it didn't resemble Oracle in Game 1. It did not, and the team didn't feed off of it. And I agree with Stephen A. Nobody's beating these Boston Celtics 4 out of 5.
So then let's figure out who they need to be big tonight. We'll go straight down the line. Jalen, I'll start with you. We know they'll have Steph. Who else needs to step up huge tonight for the Warriors?
I'm going Draymond Green. Offensively, he struggled. No problem for him scoring 4 points. But when he takes 12 shots and he misses 4 threes, that means he was open for it. So he has to play well offensively. But defensively, also, Al Horford had his way at the 3-line, on the baseline, rebounding the basketball. The bigs up front for the Golden State Warriors for the Boston Celtics dominated the Warriors. So it has to be Draymond Green.
Steve Kerr. I mean, he's going to have some adjusting. We know Steve Kerr can do this in his sleep. He's going to have to actually do it tonight. So if they're going to switch everything like the Warriors do, you can't let Steph Curry be on Jason Tatum that many possessions. The other night, it was great hearing Jalen and Magic talk about old school basketball and what would have been done in that situation. Well, if they go to this a second straight night, you can better believe that the Celtics are going to torch that. And that's not the only thing. The minute distribution for Wiggins. What is he going to do? Wiggins gave him a terrific game the other night, played 35 minutes. What about how you distribute Steph Curry's minutes? So I think there's some subtle things, but there's some big things, too, that Steve Kerr's going to have to manage tonight.
By the way, no Andre Iguodala tonight for Golden State. Stephen A., who are you watching?
My priorities are different than theirs. I'm thinking Jordan Poole. Whenever he's defending a Celtic, they shot like 7 of 13 from the field, 5 of 8 from three-point range. But that is not the issue. We point to the fact that there was a 30-point difference. They had a 15-point lead in the third quarter and a 15-point in the fourth quarter. Well, guess what? That doesn't happen if you know how to score. And the last time I checked, Steph Curry was doing his job, even though he was neutralized in the last 3 quarters, which is 13 points. Klay Thompson had a relatively pedestrian performance. I told y'all coming into this finals that 2 of the 3 had to step up. Steph gave you 34 in total. Jordan Poole was 7 points, 2 of 7 shooting, or 9 points, 2 of 7, 2 of 7, 2. Unacceptable. He's got to do better than that. He's got to be a weapon offensively if the Golden State Warriors are going to win this series.
Perhaps a further concern for the Warriors. They lose game 1, and Jason Tatum had the worst shooting night of his entire postseason career.
We pretty much dominated the game for the first 42 minutes.
What a flurry by Boston.
They just pounced.
Al Horford has come alive. Big-time shots this entire fourth quarter.
Guys kept finding me.
You hope they don't stay that hot, but you also have to do something about it.
Get the looks, knock them down, and that's that.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by DoorDash.
Live in San Francisco as we prepare for tonight's game 2 of these NBA Finals, and we are counting it down to tip-off at the top of the hour. But on our program all season long, we not only cover the games with the big NBA news, and we have huge NBA news today. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Quinn Snyder is stepping down as the head coach of the Utah Jazz after 8 seasons. The Jazz made the playoffs each of the last 6, but Snyder never led them to a conference finals. Now all eyes will be on the superstar of Utah, Donovan Mitchell, and our Adrian Wojnarowski tweeting just moments ago that in the aftermath of the departure of Quinn Snyder, Donovan Mitchell is described as, quote, unsettled, unnerved, and wondering what it means for the franchise's future. Stephen A. Smith, what is your reaction to that?
I don't think Donovan Mitchell wants to be in Utah. That's just my personal opinion. There's no inside sources or anything. I don't get the impression that that is a place he's enamored with being at. The man's averaged 25, 5, and 5 this past season, 24-point per game score for his career. I consider him a star in this league, fellas, but they have clearly come up short on far too many occasions. I've lamented the fact that he's in the postseason by himself, that he doesn't get nearly as much help as we would like to see him receive. But in the end, I've never heard it. And I'm not saying he's against Quinn Snyder, but I have no idea. But I have never heard Donovan Mitchell say, Quinn Snyder better be here. I want Quinn Snyder here.